Got a really cool opportunity to go and see the new Jurassic World movie, which was pretty nostalgic for me. I would say before I got older, when I was a little kid, the Jurassic Park movies were probably my favorite as far as just a franchise goes. And so it's always been a tradition that I would go see the new Jurassic World movie, usually with my sister because she was also a really big fan. So we got to go do that on Saturday, and it was okay. I I think they've kind of reached the end of the rope here as far as the storytelling goes for the Jurassic Park series. I think they reached it a long time ago, but it was okay. Wasn't the best, wasn't the worst, but I feel like with a franchise that has it's not like the MCU that just has 25 plus movies. It's only got 7 movies. I feel like we could do a ranking of them, so that's what I'm gonna do here today. So we're gonna be ranking all of the Jurassic Park slash Jurassic World movies. So dead last, last place, worst of all the 7 is, I think, Jurassic Park 3. And you can really tell the difference when this is the last one of the original trilogy, and you can kind of see that this one was a lot more forced than the first two, which actually have a backing from Michael Crichton's original work. The first Jurassic Park movie is connected to the first book that Michael Crichton wrote. Second book is connected to the second one that he wrote. The third one was just there for it was, I think, probably the worst in terms of a money grab for the Jurassic Park slash Jurassic World series. Really the only redeeming quality of the movie. I mean, it's always cool to see the dinosaurs. For whatever reason, whatever they have done with the Jurassic Park slash Jurassic World series is unparalleled in terms of the way that it looks, as far as the way that the dinosaurs look. So that's always cool to see. But really, the only redeeming quality of Jurassic Park 3 is the fact that they bring back Alan Grant, which is probably number one or number two as far as a character goes in the series, in the franchise. And so they create the story out of thin air. Let's find a goofy excuse to get Alan Grant back onto the island. And then, yeah, everybody gets killed by dinosaurs. We're trying to find somebody. It just doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up in terms of storytelling. It doesn't really hold up. I like Alan Grant's character. All the other characters are kind of just whatever. It's not very compelling. It's not very interesting. And it's kind of just there to complete the trilogy or the original trilogy of the Jurassic Park movies. Number 6 is Jurassic World Dominion. Now, I kind of get the feeling this again is the third movie, was the third movie in, I guess what they thought at the time was the end of the newer trilogy, the reboot trilogy. So this is the sixth installment, the third movie in the reboot trilogy. And I feel like they just had to make it to finish it out. Hey, we got to get 3 movies in there. And I think that's kind of what different franchises try and do. It's like, oh well, we have to make it a trilogy, so we're just going to make the third movie. Whereas it's like, no, you don't really have to if you don't have a good story. I'm of the belief that if you don't have a good story, just let it die, just let it end, please. We don't need to see goofiness and nonsense. We don't want to. I don't want to see something that doesn't hold up to the rest of the movies. But that's kind of what Jurassic World Dominion is. And I feel like that in the minds of the producers and the creators of the movie, they were kind of just like, well, this is the last one we're going to make for a while. And so it basically has to be the Avengers Endgame of Jurassic Park, which means we're going to bring everybody back. We're going to bring all the characters back. So they have Jeff Goldblum, they have Alan Grant's character, they have the some of the main characters from the original trilogy of Jurassic Park, and they team them up with Bryce Dallas Howard's character and with Chris Pratt's character, and they're like, "This is the last hurrah. We're just going to bring everybody back," and it just doesn't really, it just doesn't really work. There is a whole plot line that is introduced in the movie that came before it, Fallen Kingdom, and we'll get to that plot line here in just a second. And they really don't follow up on it at all. And in my opinion, that plot line, and I'll talk about it here in a second, that plot line would have been far more interesting than somebody planning on releasing genetically modified bugs to consume the world's um, harvest, essentially, to consume the food production of the world, and then they will just swoop in and save the day, or they will have control of the food of the world. I don't even, I hardly remember. And then mingled in with that is this oasis on top of the mountains that has all the dinosaurs that have been captured. I don't know. I really don't know where they could have gone with this as far as making it better, other than the separate storyline, the story beat that was in Fallen Kingdom. And so once you get into the Jurassic, this once you get into Fallen Kingdom, it starts to like, I don't know where they're going to go with this. I don't know where they were trying to go with Jurassic World Dominion. I think they just kind of threw it together because they had to complete the trilogy. It doesn't really work, even though it's kind of nostalgic and they bring everybody back. Doesn't really work for me. Fifth on the list is Jurassic World Rebirth, which is the one that just came out. It is the one that I just saw, and a little bit smaller in scale than something like Jurassic World Dominion, but sometimes that's okay. At this point, I don't really know what can they do that's exceptional or new. Again, it's always cool to see the dinosaurs, and Scarlett Johansson is great. But in this one, they have to go to the island and basically get DNA samples from three of the biggest animals in order to find a cure for heart disease. And so that's the main part of the plot. The subplot is that do we trust this evil corporation with this kind of knowledge? Are they just going to take it and sell it to the world, or sell it to the elites and not give the rest of the world access? That is actually an interesting moral premise, and I don't know if they're setting it up for a sequel. I don't know if they're actually going to address that in the next Jurassic World Rebirth Part 2. I don't know, but that's just kind of the plot point. But the plot point isn't even followed through on. I mean, they don't even, seeing how the world handles that is more interesting politically than some of the things that actually take place in the movie. And so they go to the island and they get the samples and people get eaten, and they have this gigantic hybrid T-Rex weird looking thing, which is fine. I mean, I guess we're tired of seeing normal dinosaurs or more realistic looking dinosaurs. It's just kind of there. Um, I think it's a little bit, maybe it's recency bias, but I think it's just a little more solid than Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World Dominion, because it doesn't seem as forced as those two movies. But all in all, it's just kind of mediocre. So it's coming in at the 5 spot. Number 4 is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So now we get to the point where this was, I like Jurassic World, and we'll get to that one in a second. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, you can kind of see that this is the start of them really running out of ideas. Now, I do think it's interesting that out of all of the different plot points or scenarios you could have written out, I think it's the original island is destroyed, and so now the dinosaurs that have been captured and brought back to the mainland, they escape into the rest of the planet. I think that is interesting. I don't really know where else they could have gone with it. But really, what I like about it is that they kind of turn it more so into a horror film. And so they have this gigantic mansion where there are underground auctions going on for various different people to buy dinosaurs, specifically this one dinosaur that has military capabilities and will basically just attack anything you point at. And so it gets loose in the mansion, and it attacks a bunch of people, and it eventually gets killed, and so it's kind of like running around this gigantic house, hunting people, stalking people, eating people. So that's kind of interesting. They make it like a secluded horror kind of movie. um but this is really the start of them trying, just fading away from the, I think, the original magic of it, and this is where they start to get to running out of ideas. And so it's also kind of mediocre. Also, one of the main plot points, or the underlying plot point that is addressed towards the end of the movie, or is, I wouldn't say addressed because they completely do away with it and don't really address it at all in the next film. They just, first of all, they have dinosaurs. So they bring dinosaurs back to life. But then in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, they also casually introduce the fact that this one guy who was John Hammond's partner essentially was able to clone another human being. The little girl turns out that she wasn't the granddaughter, she was actually a clone of John Hammond's friend, his daughter. The little girl was actually a clone of his daughter. So we're just casually throwing in that he figured out how to clone human beings and now they have to keep her safe, but that's not really addressed in the next movie. Would that not be the normal evolution of the story? It's like, yeah, we're doing all this stuff with genetics and we're able to figure out with dinosaurs. Well, kind of feel like they'd be able to figure it out with humans as well, but they're just going to kind of slip that in and not address it at all. I don't know. They're just really shooting at a bunch of different targets here, but overall, it's okay. So I put it at number 4. Jurassic World. Now, if they would have made Jurassic World and stopped making the Jurassic World movies, I would have been totally fine with that because I do think it's interesting to acknowledge what John Hammond was actually trying to do. And with the original Jurassic Park trilogy, you don't really get to see the dream come alive. The park is overtaken by the dinosaurs, it is abandoned essentially. And so we never really get to see it operating at full capacity as an actual theme park. So getting to see that, and then of course the dinosaurs get loose. They make this genetically modified dinosaur, the Indominus Rex, and it of course has to get loose. But it's a little bit different because now the park is full of people. So now you have this completely different dynamic where you have all these people here to visit, and then this massive dinosaur gets loose and is just going on a killing spree, essentially. I like Chris Pratt. I like Bryce Dallas Howard. The other characters in it are fine, and you get to see probably the coolest dinosaur battle in the whole series, in the whole franchise. So that all works pretty well. Again, Owen's character, Chris Pratt's character is really good. I really like him, and so I rank it higher than all of the other Jurassic World movies, and I only put Jurassic Park 1 and 2 ahead of it, which brings us to number 2. So number 2 is Jurassic Park: The Lost World, Jurassic Park 2. Now, to be honest, I usually break down movies into 2 separate categories. The first one is which category or which movie is actually better, and then which movie am I choosing to watch more often. And if I had to choose, if you were to ask me, "Hey, we're going to sit down and we get to watch any of the Jurassic Park movies, any of any movie that you want out of the Jurassic Park series, you get to choose." I'm probably going to choose Jurassic Park 2 over Jurassic Park 1 just because there's more action in it. It's really interesting to me. You have a bunch of people on this separate island with all the dinosaurs. It is a lot more it is a lot bigger in scale. And so I kind of like Jurassic Park 2 more for those reasons, but you can't really put it ahead of Jurassic Park 1, which we will get to in a second. So Jurassic Park 2, they bring back Jeff Goldblum. They basically reset the rest of the entire cast except for Jeff Goldblum. And I really like Vince Vaughn. I like Vince Vaughn uh, in some of the older movies, like in the '90s. I like Vince Vaughn now, and just pretty much put him in anything, and he cracks me up. And I really like his character. And so this one, they go to a secondary island. I don't know where all these islands are coming from. Seems like every time they make a Jurassic World movie, a Jurassic Park movie, there's a new island with new dinosaurs. Don't know how that happens. I don't know if that was even the original plan with the Jurassic Park series, but it's always another island. So they're on this other island and they're trying to capture dinosaurs to take them back to the mainland and open up this like gladiatorial arena or something like that. So Jeff Goldblum and his team of people are against that. And then you have the secondary team of basically hunters that are going there to capture all the dinosaurs that they can and take them back to the mainland. So they're like sabotaging their camp. They're like sabotaging, setting the dinosaurs free, and then of course everybody gets trapped and everybody gets eaten. Now, from what I understand, the whole third act of the movie, where the T Rex gets loose in, I believe it's San Diego, was supposed to be a completely separate movie. Jurassic Park 2 was supposed to end with them escaping the island, and then the dinosaurs getting loose on the mainland was supposed to be the third movie. Well, they decided to put it into the second movie and then make the third movie trash, essentially. But the idea of the T-Rex getting loose in the city is pretty cool, actually. And it all looks great. It really holds up like the first one does in terms of the visual effects. And so the action in it is great. I like that it's bigger in scale. I like that they bring the dinosaurs to the mainland for the first time. And of course, it gets loose and eats a bunch of people. And so all of that's very cool. And I put Jurassic Park 2, Jurassic Park The Lost World at number 2. Number 1, Jurassic Park 1. Now, like I said, if I had to choose, I would watch The Lost World instead of this. But from a creativity standpoint and from especially from a visual effects standpoint, you you can't really beat it. And not only does it hold up as the best in the series, it is also one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. And there are a number of movies that I watch today, and they have it's not about dinosaurs, but dinosaurs are put into the plot for whatever reason. I think there was a Transformers movie that came out maybe 8 or 9 years ago, and it opens up with a scene of, millions of years ago, and there's dinosaurs in it, and I'm like, "This looks like trash." This is 2017, 2018, or something like that, and they have these VFX, which are supposed to be better. This comes 20 plus years after the original Jurassic Park was made, and it does not look good at all. And somehow they were able to capture something with the Jurassic Park series that nobody else was able to capture in terms of visual effects. Now, they do kind of try and hide some stuff. The trick always is that you do as many things as you can at night. That's what covers up the mistakes. That's what covers up all of the things that might not quite be right with the visual effects, but they also do a couple things in the day. And in Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, they also do a lot of stuff during the day. And you know what? It still holds up. The visual effects of the dinosaurs in the especially the first two movies really holds up. And there's one thing that makes the original trilogy, particularly the first one and second one, so special. That reason is the animatronics that they use, which as you get further into the series, it is used less and less. And in Jurassic Park Rebirth, the one that I just watched, the newest one, there was never a moment where I thought they were using an animatronic because you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference. Even though the visual effects in these movies are good, generally speaking, you can tell the difference between an animatronic and then a visual effect. And I like that they mixed into two. And that's kind of what the first two movies were. It's like, okay, this scene we're going to use visual effects. This scene we're going to use animatronics. And it's just a perfect blend of those two things. And so what you end up with is some of the best visual effects in history and something that looks real, very, very real. And so it really stands alone, and it stands as a top tier movie in terms of what they were able to do with the way it looks, with the dinosaurs, with the animatronics. It's up there with other high quality movies in terms of visual effects. Now, it's again a smaller story. They go to this island, and it's just a handful of people. They're trying to start up this theme park that has live dinosaurs. I love uh, Richard Attenborough. I love John Hammond's character. Unfortunately, he doesn't live long enough to be in most of the other ones, but I really like his character. Alan Grant's character is great, and while having the little girl, I think it's Maisie in the Jurassic World movies, is fine as a side character. I actually like sometimes the kids just kind of get in the way and the kids are just kind of there. I actually like the kids in Jurassic Park 1. I think they add to the story. I think it makes for some funny moments. And so the T-Rex, the the first time you see the T-Rex, the first time you see the raptors, the first time you see the gigantic sauropods, it's all great. It's all very nostalgic. It all still holds up in 2025 visually, and it's kind of hard to put anything else in the series above that. So that's my ranking. Jurassic Park 3, Jurassic World Dominion, Jurassic World Rebirth, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom at 4, Jurassic World, Jurassic Park 2, and then Jurassic Park 1 is my rankings of the Jurassic Park series as of right now. I feel like I do kind of feel like other than the first Jurassic World, the rest of them are kind of interchangeable in some ways. But the last thing I wanted to do is let's do a post of the day. I was I was scrolling through Instagram earlier today and I saw something that kind of cracked me up, so I'm going to share that. So post of the day from Instagram. Let's see here. And this is from They Envy Gia. Y'all want to tell me the Bible is lies, then turn around and ask a deck of cards what you doing tomorrow. And that's really that's something that I always wondered. It's like, look, if you don't believe in the Bible, there's plenty of people that don't believe in the Bible. If you don't believe in the Bible, whatever. But it is very interesting to me what people will believe and what people will not believe. And and there's also this I get this sense that I don't know if it's a symptom of new atheism or just something that's part of this generation, but you get this sense that because we're not traditionally religious, that means we're also not like spiritual or you see what people are involved in nowadays, you're like, okay, they might not believe in God, but or they might not believe in any form of higher spirituality or anything like that. But people are still very pagan. And the reference in this post is to tarot cards. So, you go and you essentially um, somebody reads your future based upon the cards that they lay out from what I understand. But it's stuff like this that people they will wholeheartedly believe this stuff and they will let it affect the way they act. They will let it affect the decisions that they make, but they'll completely reject the idea, any idea that is related to the Bible. And it's not just with tarot cards as well. This is the same with the like special rocks. Ooh, we got colored gemstones or birthstones or the worst one is astrology. Astrology is the worst one, and you'll see these women and they'll be like, you guys believe in a sky daddy. Oh, well, sky daddy, and they're just like and they say stuff like that, and they just mock Christianity or they mock religion in general, and then they'll go, "Well, I'm a Pisces, so that makes it okay when I go around and act like an idiot all the time." And so kudos to this person with this post, and it is true. It is true. People just feel like, nah, I don't want anything to do with the Bible. I'm above that. I'm too smart for the Bible. I'm too smart for the historical aspects of the Bible. But then they'll let a gemstone or a card reader or whatever their uh, astrology sign dictate the way that they live. It's absolutely ridiculous. And kudos for this person for pointing it out.